Thank you, everybody, for coming to this Veterans Day Memorial to remember those who are not here and those who are here. So at this time, please stand for the national anthem.
You can be seated. Land, lots of land, and starry skies above. These were the words that caused our forefathers and mothers to pack up their belongings and strike out across the prairie to settle in this land called Dakota. Land, lots of land, and starry skies. Good water and rolling pastures as far as the eye could see, but most of all, freedom. America, the land that offered hope of freedom to our ancestors. In the late 1800s, many of our ancestors set sail from the shores of Russia with one thought in mind: to reach America, the land of opportunity. They followed wagon trains and railroad tracks across this newly opened territory to claim a stake of land, to build a small house, to break up native prairie land with plow and oxen. Little did they know they were beginning to plant the seeds for a new town. It was September of 1898 when Gottlieb Nickisch rolled into this unnamed spot on the map and decided to settle here. Just imagine, a treeless, buildingless, and peopleless town. The very next day, Wishek's first building was moved into town. Within the first 2 months, a large tent had been pitched to serve as a dry goods store. A restaurant was open, along with a blacksmith shop, a livery barn, and the Hill House Hotel. The town was called Wishek in gratitude to John H. Wishek, who helped with the first government survey of the area and who donated land for the railroad to pass through. Wishek's first 25 years were filled with rapid growth and the excitement that comes with new beginnings. The first issues of the Wishek News rolled off the press in 1901, along with the German version, the Wishek Nachrichten. By 1906, Herr Brothers and Company added a second story to sell everything from sewing needles to threshing machines. The first federal census in 1910 showed Wishek with a population of 432 people. No doubt many of those residents bought their new homes from Thompson Yards, who advertised a new home complete with carpenter work for $693.75. But the days weren't all good. 1916 brought a devastating fire that rushed through Wishek's main street, leveling 6 businesses, including the butcher shop, the post office, a tailor shop, a hardware and furniture store, and the Wishek News and all the early editions of the newspaper. Crane Electric Company began the work of electrifying Wishek just as rumblings of a war overseas reached our area. Soon, Wishekites were buying bonds, knitting socks, and rationing gas and sugar in support of the war effort. In May of 1918, 3,000 people met at the Wishek train station to send their boys off to war.
And the
July 4th, 1919 brought a huge victory celebration as the war was over. Wishek had a grand parade and a day of street games, speeches, and a baseball game against Ashley, and a dance. Wishek's first 25 years came to a close as a volunteer fire department was organized. Telephone wires were strung to some farms, and it was announced that the new east-west highway would run right through Wishek. Now it's 1924, the start of Wishek's second quarter of a century. Gasoline is selling for 25 cents a gallon. The Sioux Line Roundhouse, located on Wishek's northwest side, handles 207 locomotives a month, and an association of commerce is formed. Wishek is the largest town in McIntosh County with 1,016 people. The town also boasts 129 automobiles, 90 cows, and 62 horses in town. 1925 brought Wishek's first sauerkraut day. They started serving kraut at noon and finished serving at 11 o'clock at night. There were many social events during Wishek's early years. Remember, this was long before the days of television and social media. Dances were a popular pastime. Lawrence Welk played for a dance at the Pleasant Hour Theater, and it was reported that he has a great future with a little more training.
So in honor of those German heritage, we're going to sing some little German songs, and you're welcome to join along.
Mein Vater war ein Wandersmann und mir steht's auch im Blut. Romantisch froh, solang ich kann und schwenke meinen Hut. Und schwenke meinen Hut. Du liegst mir im Herzen, du liegst mir im Sinn, du machst mir Schmerzen, weißt nicht, wie gut ich dir bin. Ja, weißt nicht, wie gut ich dir bin. Oh, du lieber Augustin, Augustin, Augustin. Oh, du lieber Augustin, alles ist hin. Oh, du lieber Augustin, alles ist hin. Oh, du lieber Augustin, Augustin, Augustin. Oh, du lieber Augustin, alles ist hin. Oh, du lieber Augustin, alles ist hin.
Movies were shown at the Lyric Theater, with the first talking picture being shown in 1929. The Civic League donated a grand piano, which is still in use at the Civic Center. A public library, a local Boy Scout troop was formed, and trees were planted for a city park. A fence was also built around the park to keep livestock out. The Tri-County Fair drew a crowd of 5,000 people over its 2 days. Local businesses closed all afternoon so everyone could attend. Just when power farming was starting to make farming more efficient and profitable, the drought of 1930s hit the nation. Soon transients were driving through looking for work. The McIntosh County Red Cross was distributing food and clothes to the needy, and a civilian conservation corps camp was set up in Wishek to provide work for area men. While many were hard hit by the Depression, Wishek benefited greatly from many government programs designed to provide work. Most of Wishek's sidewalks were built by the men of the WPA, as well as the swimming pool and current Civic Center, originally built as the high school gymnasium. As the 1930s came to a close, It seemed that things were finally starting to look up. But in 1941, millions listened by radio as President Roosevelt announced that the country was, once again, at war. Too soon the people of Wishek were again rationing coal, sugar, gas, and tires, and sending their boys off to fight in a war overseas. 1945 brought an end to the war. The Wishek News, which had stopped publication during the war, was reopened as the Wishek Star. Veterans returned to Wishek, many with new brides, eager to settle down and start a family. A mini boom began. Many new homes were built. The livestock market opened, along with the National Guard unit. The Lions Club was organized, and once again, Wishek had a reason to celebrate. It was 1948, Wishek's 50th year. Although in the early 1950s the Korean conflict loomed, people in Wishek were still focused on growth. The Hospital Association was formed and plans were made to build a hospital in Wishek. It took 5 citywide votes for the final funding to be approved, but in 1954, 1,500 people attended the new Wishek Hospital dedication ceremony. By 1956, the 1,000th patient had already been admitted to the hospital. The school hot lunch program now had 65 students eating meals each day at 20 cents a meal. And who can forget standing in line to receive our TB and polio shots at school? The first high school prom was held in 1956. Downtown Wishek was a busy place. At the Dakota Theater, Elvis made his first appearance in Love Me Tender. Each Halloween, the theater featured a costume contest. At Christmas, Santa passed out over 700 goodie bags to area children. The Association of Commerce purchased Christmas lights to decorate downtown Wishek. There were movies each night and 2 shows on Saturday and Sundays. And on summer weekends, the downtown stores stayed open late into the night, and the smell of Philip Minnick's corner corn stand filled the air. 2 major city projects came about during Wishek's 3rd quarter century. The 100-bed Wishek Retirement and Nursing Home was built. and the rural schools were consolidated with the Wishek Public School. Several county schools were moved to town to service classrooms, and the Oddfellows Hall and City Hall were commandeered as well. A building project was in the works. The 1960 census listed Wishek as having a population of 1,288 people. The public school boasted an enrollment of 605 students. Local building projects totaled over $1.5 million as construction began on a new grade and junior high school, the home for the aged, a new National Guard armory, and an addition to the hospital. A mid-March snowstorm brought life to a standstill in Wishek during the blizzard of '66. It was one of the most savage blizzards in history, and local cattlemen were hard hit. Students, however, rejoiced in many days off from school. Remember the summer sound of the Wishek Drum and Bugle Corps marching the city streets? In 1967, the Corps was designated the official governor's Drum and Bugle Corps. The 1970s saw Wishek building again, as a new high school building was approved. There would be no more running between schools for hot lunch, home ec, band, and PE. Who needed PE with all that running? And finally, Wishek kids could swim without fear of hypothermia. A swimming pool heater had been installed. In 1972, Wishek's first state championship team Wishek had its first state championship team as the school track team took home Class B honors. 1973 found Wishek celebrating once again as 25,000 people and a 3-mile-long parade capped off Wishek's 75th Jubilee.
Distance, the world looks blue and green, and the snow-capped mountains white. From a distance, the ocean meets the stream, and the eagle takes to flight. Wishek maintained an outlook of optimism. In 1976 alone, the following projects were completed: a new Chevrolet and International Harvester building, a lighted football field, new John Deere and PCA buildings, a hospital clinic was built along with an 8-plex apartment, a bottle shop, 2 airport hangars, a new warming house at the skating pond, and several new homes. And soon, a $750,000 36-unit apartment complex would be added to the retirement home. 1978 was the year that Barney, the world's largest cement badger, was born, on Main Street no less. In 1980, another Wishek first was achieved as the 6-year-old Lady Badgers basketball team qualified for the state Class B tournament. The 80s saw still more progress in Wishek as a bowling alley, steakhouse, and motel were built, as well as a new fire hall. A beautiful new baseball stadium was also dedicated. And once more, the retirement home added on, an Alzheimer's unit this time. But even Wishek's progressive spirit could not stop the national trend of urban migration. All over the country, Wishek included, people were moving to the bigger cities. By 1991, the school population had dropped to 301 students, half of its all-time high. As the town aged, so did landmark buildings. In 1986, the original train depot was torn down, and a fitting exit was shipped out by rail. 1990 brought the demise of the former Ma Bowers and Tilly's Drive-In. And in an effort to beef up area athletic teams, the area's schools began co-oping in both basketball and football. But leave it to Wishek to change with the times. In the 90s, the 911 emergency call system was implemented, and parent-teacher conferences added nighttime hours to accommodate working parents. The hospital was one of the first in the state to obtain telemedicine services. The winter of 96-97 reminded Wishek of the true power of Mother Nature as over 100 inches of snow filled Wishek's streets, and the National Guard was called in to help Wishek plow out. Wishek's athletes also recorded banner headlines as the 1996 Lady Badgers made a second state Class B basketball appearance. The 97 Badger track team won the state title. The 1997-98 girls volleyball team made it to state, and the wrestling team proudly brought home the state championship trophy. It was a big year for our town. The Wishek Airport was named the North Dakota General Aviation Airport of the Year. And in honor of our town turning 100, the City Council renamed 6th Street to Centennial Street. A multi-day celebration was held with an estimated 10,000 people visiting during those days. It was a joyous time of rekindling memories and friendships.
It's been good to be together. It's been good to worship as a family of faith. Though it's plain for all to see, we're as different as can be, yet we're one in our family of faith. It's been good to be together. It's been good to worship as a family of faith. Though it's plain for all to see, we're as different as can be, yet we're one in our family of faith. Though it's plain
As we neared the turn of the century, local businesses began worrying about Y2K during a collapse of computer systems. Turns out there was nothing to worry about. Life went on as new hardwood flooring was installed in the Wishek High School gym, but declining enrollments had small town schools co-oping in most sports. Our co-op with Ashley led to dropping the Badger mascot name and choosing a new mascot for the combined teams. We were now the Mustangs. 2001 marked some milestones. The Tri-County Fair noticed its 75th anniversary. The Wishek Hospital and Clinic Association received the designation of being a critical care access hospital, while Maggie's Cafe, a Wishek landmark since 1943, closed its doors for good. On September 11th, we all watched the world change as commercial airliners were hijacked and flew into the Twin Towers of the World Trade Center in New York. 2 years later, the 141st Engineer Combat Battalion Company A of the National Guard, based in Wishek, received mobilization orders and provided homeland security at the state's military bases. 39 soldiers from Wishek were transferred to the Minot Air Force Base for a year of active duty.
If tomorrow all the things were gone, I'd work for all my life, and I had to start again with my children and my wife. I thank my lucky star to be living here today, 'cause the flag will stand for freedom, and they can't take that away.
And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the man who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. God bless the
Over the next 10 years, the Wishek Home for the Aged converted part of the complex into assisted living units. Construction began on a new ambulance training center located near the Wishek Hospital. The Wishek School Music Program earned acclaim from state, national, and worldwide media for students who took up the accordion under Janet Wolf's direction. The Tri-County Exhibitors Association purchased 8 rides in order to carry on the summer Tri-County Fair. The long baseball tradition in Wishek continued as Wishek was selected as the host city for the 2010 state Babe Ruth baseball tournament. The decade ended with a massive winter storm that began late in the evening on December 23rd and left 24 inches of snowfall. The next decade brought more changes to our town, some not so good. Wishek Manufacturing, which had brought many jobs to Wishek and was known worldwide for the Wishek disc, closed. And the building of one of Wishek's earliest and most memorable businesses, Hair Mercantile, was demolished. But there were many more good happenings as the South Porter wrestlers being named State Class B dual wrestling champs for 3 consecutive years. Wishek First Baptist Church, which began as a rural church, celebrated its 125th anniversary. Stan's Super Value, home of Wishek's famous sausage, celebrated 50 years in business, changing hands over the years from Stan Diley to his son Darren. Pinky Homes began as an additional part of Pinky Lumber. A new wing was added onto the school for ag-related classes, and Sauerkraut Day, Wishek's national holiday, marked 90 years of fun in Wishek. The end of that decade, 2020, was the year COVID-19 swept the world. Wishek felt the impact. Some of our residents passed away from the virus. The school was closed and forced into distance learning through the internet. The Tri-County Fair and Sauerkraut Day were canceled. But our strong pioneer roots served us well. According to the 2020 census, Wishek was still McIntosh County's largest city with 1,002 residents. In 2021, after 112 years in the community, Security State Bank, the oldest bank in McIntosh County and the oldest remaining business in Wishek, was sold to Unison Bank. And just yesterday, November 2023, the South Border Mustangs football team made its first ever appearance in the state Class B football championship game at the Fargo Dome, taking home second place honors. And here we are today. Time marches on. Much has changed, but what remains are the values upon which this town was built. Our grandfathers and grandmothers planted the seeds of this town. Our parents tended it well. And now it's in our hands to reap the harvest and plant new seeds of hope for future generations. And so it is with grateful hearts that we say thank you to those who have gone before us and to those who continue to work to make this town succeed. Tonight we are here to honor those military men and women who fought and served to ensure the freedoms that we cherish in our community and our country. To close out the program, the Quazi Choir will share an original song. I wrote the lyrics. Our music maven, Janet Wolf, set it to music. I'll read through the lyrics, and then the choir will share the second performance of Where We're From. School days, pool days, playing in the park. Listen for the whistle, be home by dark. Parade floats, a bonfire, snake dance led by the queen. Football, a dance, it's the homecoming scene. Cherry Cokes at Maggie's, burgers, fries, and a malt. We can play in the band at a day filled with kraut. Prom, graduation, world, here we come. But we'll never forget where we came from. It's a little town most people wouldn't know by name, but growing up elsewhere would not be the same. Here we learned values, gained friendships forever. We made memories together we'll always treasure. Soon we'll say goodbye, it's time to part. Wherever we are, Wishek stays in our heart. And wherever we go, wherever we roam, we can say, I'm from Wishek, it's my home.
In closing, we want to say thank you to our veterans. We are so glad that you are home.
Thank you, everybody, for coming one more time to hear our Quazi program that was done this summer. It's wonderful to be able to do it one more time again with this group. I think now we get to celebrate with the Salisbury steak meal. Yeah. So.